As we get closer to summer, I'm expecting to hear more news from Capcom about Monster Hunter Wilds. So here are the things I'm expecting and hoping to see from the next title in my favorite franchise. From the little bit of footage we have seen, it looks like the scale of things is bigger all around. We were shown larger open spaces and herds of both predators and prey. The weather also seems to be playing a big role in the game, and I hope it has a wide range of applications. But I have to say, I don't think this will be an open world game. In the past games, you were mostly engaged in areas that the guild had designated as hunting grounds, so for lore reasons, I can already see it now working out that way. Essentially, monsters were corralled into the play area, and then the Elder Dragons, or whatever other menace happened to arrive, was an invasion of sorts. In Monster Hunter World, you're in a new land, and even though the spaces are much larger in scope, they were usually near or connected to some kind of settlement, and had natural barriers to keep you in. But honestly, I don't know if open world is even good for this style of gameplay. A good hunter learns not just their weapons and their enemies, but the areas around them. Most maps have specific features in specific areas. Learning the map is part of the fun, and moving monsters to an advantageous position is a step on the road to mastery. So the question becomes, what is the benefit of having an open world Monster Hunter game? In my opinion, it would just cause more trouble than it's worth. It could end up changing the rhythm of the game, the time between hunting and preparation. But also, if it's larger than life and it's got a huge map, and you're going from town to town or settlement to settlement, then you're probably going to end up fast traveling anyway, so what's even the point? I think it's better to just scale the levels and keep them bespoke. Without any good evidence, we're just going to have to dismiss this as wishful thinking on the gamer's part. Alright, let's talk about the weapons. There are 14 so far, and they're great, but I think it might be time for a change. While I enjoyed the use of the clutch claw and even the wire bug sometimes, I think we need something to bridge some gaps. The sword and shield right now is the jack of all trades, except when it comes to range. Mike and I have spoken about this before on the channel, but I think something that incorporated both ranged and melee could be really special. Perhaps like a whip or a large boomerang, or like a talking boat. Hold on, what? If we can't get a new weapon, which honestly is a lot to ask for considering how well balanced the games are, then perhaps more customization to playstyle. I really loved the hunter arts from Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, and I think the scrolls were a cool concept in Rise. I especially had fun building a knockout sword and shield set that took advantage of the quick cooldowns on the shield bash in Sunbreak. That was a blast. Basically, more builds and unlocking the versatility of our weapons would be awesome. But something that we need, and I mean need, is a better multiplayer experience. Crossplay is a must. It just has to happen already. No more gates. Cutscenes should not hold us back, no matter how epic they are. But an area I think they can improve on is on the group features. Like, it's cool to have one, but there's not much to do with it. I would like to see more rewards for groups like interactive emotes or banners of some sort. Something to team build and express pride in your group. It would also be really interesting to see a kind of global approach to objectives. Rewards from the commission to the players for culling certain beasts or collecting enough resources would be a good way to support the feelings of cooperation that we see today in games like Helldivers. While the setting is getting a lot of attention, I think there is much more potential in what the mount will bring to the game. It would be great if the mount was treated like a small mobile camp. So far it looks like it will be more of a pack animal than a hunting companion the same way the Palamutes were, but it's still very early. There might be more than this one type of mount, who knows. but a lot of keen observers noticed that there was a light bowgun holstered on the creature. Perhaps switching out weapons mid-hunt will become easier and more fluid. That could be dope. I would be curious to see what combat on the mount might look like too. As a lanceman, will I be able to shield my mount from attack, or fire from its back like the archers of old using the bow? The trailer shows a lot of control over the animal as well, and it gives me the impression that it will be central to the gameplay. The Palamutes never felt like you could get the precision you really wanted, but was already a vast improvement over the Tail Riders from Iceborne. But with the new title, the devs get the opportunity to really dive into the world and the lore. With all the history and spin-offs the series has, it would be great to see more of that represented in the next game. Writers feel oddly left out of the series since introduced, but it would be great to see more of them and just, different ways of life within the world. Considering how good the last Monster Hunter Stories game was, it would be cool to interact with other writer communities and even see some of the special monsters only found in that series. And that also means we have an opportunity for deeper mechanics within the field itself, like fishing and cooking. Personally, fishing is one of my favorite things to do in adventure games, and with the emphasis on the mount or the idea of the wilds, perhaps eating on the go could be a bit more interactive than finding a camp and accessing a menu. Same goes for cooking in the settlements. Actually, how about less menus all around? Give me more to do and invest my time into, rather than doing a few missions and gaining a new menu choice. So a complaint I had about Rise and Sunbreak was that I felt like gathering was going by the wayside, and it's one of my favorite parts of Monster Hunter. Preparing for a hunt is half the fun, but learning about the world through collecting items felt less important in the last game. I would like there to be more ways to contribute to the Research Commission's progress in-game, and I want it to matter beyond gatekeeping the player from certain hunts. Although this may be asking for way too much at this point, it would be really cool if we could visit familiar locations from the past. Not in the way we do in Generations, but maybe progressing some kind of overall story, since the evidence right now is pointing to this being a direct follow-up to the expeditions in the New World. Maybe more, Ace Hunters, yeah? I prefer something like this to a remake, but you probably already know my feelings on that. We'll call it here. I don't want to dive into too much speculation considering the little bit of information we actually had. I appreciate you guys watching, and please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that stuff. Join our Discord. This is where we talk about this stuff all the time. But yeah, thanks again. Catch you on the next one.